Happy, Egyptian mythology. Happy, Egyptian mythology. Happy, Egyptian mythology.
So for this Shabbat study, we're going to look at this Egyptian deity, an ancient pagan god of the Egyptians known as Happy. Let's go to a YouTube video called Mythology Storyteller, and I'll play it for you. Just a brief introduction.
Happy is the ancient Egyptian god of the Nile.
Did you hear that?
He is ancient not only to us of the modern world, but to the Egyptians as well. In fact, Hep, the root of Happy's name, is probably an ancient name for the Nile. Happy was portrayed as a man with women's breasts and protruding belly. The full breasts and stomach indicate fertility, and his ability to nourish the land through the Nile's annual floods. Happy was the patron of Upper and Lower Egypt. In this capacity he was described as twin deities named Hap-Reset for Upper Egypt, and Hap-Met for Lower Egypt. These deities were depicted either pouring water from a jug, representing the inundation, or tying together the heraldic plants of Upper and Lower Egypt, the papyrus and the lotus respectively, in a knot which resembled the hieroglyphic word Sema, which meant joined.
Alright. So can you believe that? This word, happy, is the name of an Egyptian deity. Yet you, every holy Shabbat, are invoking that name happy when you say happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath, friends. It's the weekend, and that means it's time to rest.
Happy Sabbath, Israel of God, Dallas. I'm Brother Troy.
All right, happy Sabbath, everybody. Happy Sabbath.
I understand you're saying, oh, it's English. But you need to understand where the etymology or the root of that word comes from. All you gotta do is do a Wikipedia search for the word happy, H-A-P-I. And then you're gonna find out that when you are saying happy Sabbath, you're invoking that name. And not only this a pagan Egyptian deity, but one that is an abomination. Why is it an abomination? A Nile god. Ancient Egypt, Happy, was the god of the annual flooding of the Nile in ancient Egyptian religion. Happy is typically depicted, now this is interesting, Happy is typically depicted as an androgynous figure with a prominent belly and large drooping breasts, wearing a loincloth and ceremonial false beard, depicted in hieroglyphics as an intersexed person. So now you understand something here. You have a deity that is associated with the LGBT community. It is a pagan god of the Egyptians whose name is Happy. And reason why you need to stop saying happy Sabbath is because what you're doing is invoking this God's name. You're taking the abominable and putting it on front of the holy. Now, let me explain a little bit more to you about this, because you're going to say, well, this is English, not Egyptian. Not Egypt, it's just a coincidence. Now, let's look at the etymology of where the word happy in English comes from, or the origin of the word happy. The first record of happy comes from around 1350. It comes from Middle English and is a combination of the word hap, meaning a person's luck or lot. The suffix y mean characterized by. The word hap comes from Old Norse hap, meaning luck or chance. So this word is referring to luck or chance. And why? Because in ancient Egypt, it was an occasional flooding of the Nile. It was lucky, it was fortunate, it was by chance that the Egyptian people would have this flooding of the Nile, which would bring in all this abundance of fish and fertile soil. And nowhere in the Old Testament or New Testament will you even read a combination of the two words happy Sabbath? And that is because the Most High is not associated with luck and chance. He's a Elohim of blessings and curses. So you don't need to be telling your people or wishing them luck and good fortune. Whatever happens to you, hopefully it's good on the Holy Shabbat. If anything, you should be saying, have a blessed Shabbat. But we could go one step further and we can find out what we really should be saying, or what we really should call the Shabbat, because it's right here in the scriptures. And let me reiterate, there is nowhere in the scriptures where you find a combination, even in the English, happy Sabbath. Because our people didn't say that. This is what we're instructed to say. And some of you already know this, and I've already educated some of you of this, and you accept it. But your stubbornness of keeping true to the text, which you so much believe, the English is your words of choice, of course, you still refuse to do what it says. In Isaiah chapter 58, verses 13, it says, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight. See, are you calling the Sabbath a delight? So that's the reason why I say Sabbath delight. By your own logic, this is what you're supposed to be saying. But you rather invoke the name of a transgendered god of Egypt. You rather call his or her name on the Holy Shabbat. You won't do what this book says because you have been brainwashed. That's what I'm going to say. I hate to say it. You've been conditioned to do things your own way. You're not conditioned to do things according to what the book says. Yet you'll tell me, well, the book says Jesus, we're going to call him Jesus. But the book never says call the Sabbath happy. The book says call the Sabbath a delight. And the delight and happy is not the same thing. You could tell me it is, but the definitions are not going to relate to that. Because I just showed you the etymology of happy, and that is referring to luck, chance, and fortune. And then I could go, and you got to understand that Egyptian language is ancient versus English. So in other words, Egypt came before English did. Egyptian language came before English language did. So all this is going back to the source, which is referring to an intersex, androgynous god of ancient Egypt named Happy. You want to know a little more about this deity? Let me tell you something about this deity. Let's go back and look at it again, because this is not just some ordinary happy god. This god is one that required blood sacrifice. In the Wikipedia, Egyptian historian Al-Makrizi, 1364 to 1442, related in his El Khatat El Makriza, the Makrizian plans, that living virgins were sacrificed annually as brides of the Nile. And this has been historically accepted as late as the 1970s. So you see, they were sacrificing virgins to this god named Happy. And you want to call and invoke that name. What does your scripture tells you? The scripture says, don't even mention their names. Now, of course, we have to use the name right now for education and study purpose. But the scripture tells you don't even have their names come out of your mouth of these pagan gods. So let's look it up. So we go to Exodus chapter 23, verse 13. Let's look at it in the King James. And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. So, you understand what Moses is telling the people? Don't even be mentioning their names. Don't be summoning their names. Don't be invoking their names. Don't be praying to them. Don't be talking about them. Again, we have to use it for educational purposes. So you can understand that when you're just saying it haphazardly, pun intended, for a greeting for the Lord's holy day, calling the Sabbath happy, you're calling it based on a pagan god's title, his name or her name. And you're doing it in ignorance. And what the scripture says, that my people fail from lack of knowledge. So you want to understand why you're constantly suffering. Yes, the curse is on you. You can't get healed from your sicknesses. You can't achieve your goals. People are suffering with mental illness and physical illness, spiritual sickness. You got violence all in our communities. In our communities, they're full of rape, murder, sex, violence, prostitution, drug abuse. Because we're ignorant. Yes, ignorant and stiff-necked, stubborn, won't learn, won't study, won't listen, won't swallow your pride and correct your error. So I'm bringing this to you as a testimony, as a witness against you, that you people in these churches who put on this Hebrew outer garment, but inside your Sunday idolatrous ways are still dictating to you what to believe. Stop it. You've been warned. You've been educated. So this is a witness against you. Stop invoking this God's name. Isaiah 58, verses 13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight. Call the Sabbath a delight. Call the Sabbath a delight. What does it say? Call the Sabbath a delight. And what else? The holy of the Yahweh. Honorable. And shall honor him. Not doing thine own ways. So don't be doing your own things on this day. Nor finding your own pleasures. Don't be trying to find things that's going to please you this day. It's not about you. This Shabbat is not about trying to make you happy. See, you can't please God. You can't satisfy the Most High because you are invoking the name of a God that brings you happiness. Again, I've told you before, this is not a happy birthday. It's not happy Thanksgiving. It's not happy anything. This day is a holy day. Take delight in it. Quit looking at it as something you should do to make you pleasurable, to bring you some type of happiness, which is fortune and good luck. This God is not about that. This God is about keeping this day holy, not doing your own work, your own things, or your own pleasure, And it even says, nor speaking thine own words. So, where in the scripture does it say, call the Sabbath happy? That's you speaking your own words. It says, call it here in Isaiah 58:13 a delight. And I cannot stress that more. I found this a few years back. And I said, well, right there is the issue with Israel. We won't do what he says. Our logic dictates to us that the English is the language that the Most High has given us, so therefore we should use it. But yet you don't do it. You don't use it right. You got to rightfully divide this word. Make no mention of these other gods' names. So you got to stop calling these other gods' names, even in your ignorance. But now you know. Will you stop now? Will you accept correction? Or will you choose to be disobedient? Not to me, to the Most High. The evidence has been given to you. You could look this up yourself. It's not a mystery of any of these things. I'm sent to give you a word to help better your connection with the Most High. To help you get in line, to give you a better accuracy of how to please God. You already know, and I know sometimes we slip. I just slipped right there. We already know that we shouldn't say the word God, because that goes back to an ancient deity named God. You shouldn't use the word Lord, because what kind of Lord is that? Is that Baal or Balaam? Baalim, whatever you want to call it, Beelzebub. You shouldn't say those words. So some of you know these things. And we slip up and make mistakes. Get better. Do better. Keep learning. Keep studying. Don't just get comfortable in error. Wake up, Yasharal. Wake up, Israel. We run out of time. You can't keep playing this game, playing stupid, like you don't have any accountability. Another version says here, Exodus 23:13, there's another version of it, another translation of it. It says, pay close attention to everything I have said to you. You must not invoke the names of other gods. So, you must not invoke the name of other gods. What does it say?
Happy. Happy.
How does that sound to you? Happy, right?
Happy. Happy.
All right. Same name.
Happy.
Listen. What is it? What is this? What is happy? How is this? What is this? What is this? What is this saying? Listen carefully.
Happy. Egyptian mythology.
Egyptian mythology.
Happy. Egyptian mythology.
How many times I gotta replay it for you?
Happy. Egyptian mythology.
Repetition is key. I want this to sink in.
Happy. Egyptian mythology.
Egyptian mythology.
Happy. Egyptian mythology.
All right. You don't want to keep saying it. I'm trying to educate my people. Trying to get Israel, both tribes. Both kingdoms, north and south, to understand that we could do better. We can learn and we could get better at pleasing God by keeping His commandments. Stop invoking the name of these other gods, these other deities. Stop observing Gentile and heathen feast days. What I'm talking about, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter, and New Year's Day, and any of these other American holidays. Stop doing all that. Those weren't made for you. You got holidays in here that the Most High have given you. Study those days. We got one that's coming up, I think, in September. The Memorial Trumpets. Look into that. And allow the book to dictate to you how you should go about to celebrate that. But you have to understand maybe first the basics. I got videos about that. African Americans, Native Americans, Latin Americans, you are the offspring of the ancient Israelites. I know that's a lot to take in. But we all have a common ancestor. That ancestor is the forefathers. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's Isaac and Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You all heard those. Those common ancestors are where we come from. So we have a culture based on their experiences. They've had interactions with the divine. The Most High, the creator of the universe, brought our people out from bondage from ancient Egypt and made a contract with them, and it was sealed in blood. You could read it for yourself right there in Exodus. And they say they'll do everything that he says. And Most High said, if you do all that I tell you to do, I'm going to bless you. But if you don't, I'm going to curse you. And they failed. They broke their side of the contract. And when they broke their side of the contract, our people got scattered throughout the whole earth through slavery. And we carried all these other Egyptian deities with us and their customs. That's all part of the curse. But it's time for us to wake up. Yes, Israel, we gotta wake up. There's no more need to continue in slumber. Time is running short. The Most High is getting his people together. We gotta get the 12 tribes, 12,000 out of every tribe, unified. And when we do that, you will see a force unleashed in this earth like never before. I'm just doing my part, so I'm asking you to join me in this to help further this passion, this mission to bring the Israelites of modern day descent back to their understanding and the truth. Shalom. Ya Balashan Ya Ban La Yasharala, which is translated from the Hebrew tongue, peace. I'm Bilshan, son of Israel.